What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of All Wrapped Up. Today's guest got his start working at a sign shop. He had bigger plans to fill the void in his area for the color change industry. He is now a 3M Preferred Installer, Avery Certified Installer, IBOW Trainer, and much more. Please welcome Nate Kraus. What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to All Wrapped Up Podcast. We'll be interviewing industry-leading wrap companies to share tips, tricks, stories, and more. All right, so we'll just go live now. We got Nate Kraus from Innovative Vinyl Solutions. How you doing, Nate?
Not bad, man. How are you?
Doing well. Usually I start the podcast with a little shop talk. What you got going on today?
Yeah, so I'm doing a VIP style Infinity Q45. It's $19.99. It's bagged. It's got like the full velour window curtains. It's got all the plush interior. It's got like a JDM style body kit. The style isn't super popular here, but if you look up like VIP style vehicles, it's super big in Japan. It's a pretty wild vehicle. So we're doing a KPMF matte white gold Starlight, I believe.
That you posted that up on your Instagram there, huh?
Yep.
Old school?
Yeah, I just picked it up yesterday. So I'll have this car for a couple weeks just because of the holiday split. I won't be working Friday or Monday, and he's in no rush to get it back. We need to get some body work done. We're also doing retrofit headlights. But yeah, once it's done, it should be pretty wicked.
That's cool. Are you doing a lot of the mods yourself in your shop?
No, I don't do the retrofits. Got sent out, but as far as some of the stuff that's getting done here in house, I have a PDR guy, so we'll just get the body perfect, and then I also have somebody lined up to re-chrome the wheels. It's like a true JDM. Three-piece wheel. It's pretty old. It's like mid-90s. They don't make them anymore. So I actually found a guy here in Wisconsin that's going to take them apart, clean them up. They've got a little bit of road rash. But yeah, get them cleaned up and re-chromed so they look brand new again.
Yeah, that thing's sick. It's got like vents. It's cool if you go on Instagram. It's got these crazy vents on the fenders, and I could see the skirts for the blinds on the side windows.
Yeah, it's got samurai swords in the rear window. It's got like a gun rack looking thing with two samurai swords. And those fender vents. So this car came from Southern California. The fender vents are actually vents from a Range Rover. So they cut that part of a Range Rover fender out and welded it into the Infinity fender and then smoothed it out. Whoever did it did a really good job.
Wow. Yeah, I can see where it comes from now. Looking at it, that's super cool. Now you offer pickup service, which is very rare in this industry.
Yes,
that's really cool. How long you been doing that for?
This is the first one I've actually picked up. So I want to stay focused on color change. There's not people always tell me like, you're never gonna make it doing color changes in Wisconsin. What about winter? Blah blah blah. So I just thought, how can I get people to get their cars out of storage? Well, let's buy a trailer and offer pickup and delivery. And I've gotten a good response from that, because now, I've got 5 color changes booked right now. From most of them are 3 hours plus away. And the nice thing about offering pickup and delivery is I can go to their storage unit, get the car out, take my time, get it wrapped, bring it back, put it back in storage, and then come show season, they're not going to be without their car for a week or two.
Right.
So it's nice. People like that.
That's an awesome setup for picking cars up, and definitely a little void that you can or niche you can kind of demand on. I definitely know where you're coming from with the winters, the harsh winters and everything. With me being in Boston, you get all 4 seasons up here, and it's tough, especially when you're trying to make money in a specific niche. It's tough to make to get those clients out of the house.
Yeah, and like I said, I thought it would be a good idea. I ran it by some other people. I've got a good support network of people that I run my ideas by, and I pretty much nobody thought it would be a bad idea. So I just went with it, and it seems to pay off. I mean, I can't complain. It's one of those things, you get a trailer and you're like, oh man, I hope I don't have this trailer for no reason. But as soon as I put it up, like offer pickup and delivery, I had this guy, he's like, hey, I want to get my car done now. I'm like, all right.
That's cool. Now, what were you doing prior? Were you doing a lot of commercial stuff?
Yeah, so I just started my business in August. I worked at a sign shop for almost 7 years.
Wow.
And that was strictly commercial. Our overhead there was just so high that the color change game didn't really, fit the mold of what we were doing because of our overhead,
Right.
It's like, when you have this high overhead, you can't really just do 4 cars a month. You're doing 3 or 4 commercial jobs a day to be profitable. So yeah, I started there at the bottom, doing just weeding, masking, hemming, and grommeting banners, and then I learned how to do a little bit of sign labs so I could set up my own banners, and then I learned how to do, run the printer, run the plotter, and, I ended up managing that place for the last 18 months, and then I decided that I really wanted to focus on color change. I thought I could build a market for it, so I made an exit plan, and I left.
Wow.
August 15th was my last day. So I've only been in my shop, my business, since August 16th.
Yeah, so you're fresh. You're like 6 months in.
Yeah, yep, 5 months basically.
Wow. How is it? How is the transition from being, a manager of a sign shop to now being your own boss?
It definitely has its positives and its negatives, but I think that clearly the positives outweigh everything. I mean, I'm working a lot more, but I'm doing it on projects I really like. It's all me. It's all my quality. Managing the sign shop was great because it was, very rarely on 5 o'clock on a Friday was it, hey, I gotta stick around. It's like, oh, it's 5 o'clock, see you later,
Right.
Punch the clock, go home, and show back up Monday at 8. So that side of it was nice, but doing what I love doing is much better. I mean, last Saturday I did that Subaru where I installed that big chassis mount wing.
Yep.
That girl had an event. She had to be at, so I was, and the installing that spoiler took longer than I expected, so it was Saturday at 3:30 in the morning when I finished that car.
Oh my God. Well, you gotta do what you gotta do. Right.
Exactly.
Right. And like the saying goes, you never work a day in your life when you're having fun.
Exactly.
And that goes to be true for sure.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a day where I'm like, man, I want to go back to the sign shop.
For sure. How's your shop set up?
It's a 30 by 60, and I did a lot of work to this place. When I first got it, it was kind of a dump. The previous tenant here was an electronic repair.
Okay.
And they kind of built this super jank upstairs. So we gutted it. The first floor is all shop, except for there's a bathroom, a utility room, and probably a 10 by 10 little lounge where I got a TV, a couch in case some people are waiting for anything. And then we built an upstairs. I have a plotter and a laminator, and then kind of like my little design area upstairs. that's where I do like consultations, because I do some commercial work. It's pretty few and far between. But I did retain some customers from the last shop. So whenever I do like consultation or anything like that, we just pop upstairs and hang out. But yeah, I've got a 14-foot overhead door, heat, so I can get a semi in here if I need to. It's a pretty good setup for a first shop.
For sure. What do you running for your plotter? What type of plotter you got running?
I've got a 65-inch 8600 Graph Tech.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And what type of laminator you got?
It's a Royal Sovereign.
Nice.
65-inch. So that way, I got them used. And my plan is to eventually get a printer. So I couldn't pass up the deal on the laminator. I haven't even used it yet, but I mean, I couldn't. For the price, it was kind of, you take the plotter and the laminator, or you get nothing.
Oh, one of those deals.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I couldn't complain with the price, and I personally know the guy who owned them before. He's a good guy, Chad at Fastlane Wraps.
Nice.
So I was actually down there. I helped him wrap his wife's Escalade, and got a U-Haul and hauled the stuff home.
Was that the Escalade that was in the the deep space blue color?
Yeah, the deep space. Yep.
Yeah,
that thing turned out wicked.
That's a super cool color. I actually just bought a bunch of that film to wrap my daughter's Power Wheel Jeep.
Yes.
Which is kind of funny.
Yeah, that color flips real hard in the sun.
Yeah, it looks super, super nice, especially with the black accents. Did you guys do anything with the taillights, like smoke them out?
No.
No.
Those stayed factory. I did just see Kevin I saw Kevin just posted an Escalade that he smoked out everything.
Yeah. Super cool
that
film, man.
Super rad.
I've been doing that for such a long time, probably back in like 2000, I don't know, maybe 2008, 2009, with the Oracal, or Orful they're called now, transparent black.
Oh, like the 8300?
Yeah, they've got like a super dark one and a super light one. If you do the light one, it kind of just looks like just a light smoke on there, but the dark one's the best one. And the best part is that you don't get, because up here in Boston, you get pulled over for anything. You know what I mean? So with black taillights, you know, the cops are just like, hey, you can't have that. You know what I mean? But with the transparent film, when the lights are on, it doesn't even look like they're smoked. You know, it's such a great, you know, it's not like wrapping because it's a calendared film, but, you know, on easy taillights, flat surfaces, it really works really well.
Yeah, I have that on my truck. I love that stuff. Yeah,
it's great material. I don't recommend, one thing I don't recommend is putting it on the headlights. It does dim down the headlight quite a bit, especially in like the wintertime when you got snow or hard rain. It really dims down the headlights. But taillights all day, corner lights all day. It's a really great product for that type of installation.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've tried a few other like taillight smoking films, and I always end up back at the 8300. You just can't beat it, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. I think the other company is Llumar or something like that. I think they kind of make like a it's a non-adhesive. It's almost like you have to put it on with water. It's like a static style.
Okay.
Taillight. It's cool because you can take it off and put it on. I don't know what the durability is on that, but I think there's another product that, you know, you DIY. They're already pre-cut. You stick them on, you're ready to go. How did you get into that sign company? How did you manage to get that gig in the beginning?
Yeah, so I went to school, vocational school. I have a 2-year associate's degree in collision and refinishing. So I was a painter, kind of funny. And I got a job locally doing at a yacht manufacturing company.
Okay.
They built like dinner boats. Skipperliner was the company, so I was a painter there, and they ended up going bankrupt. But I had done some just graphic applications there, you know, putting the name on the boat and the water line and all that stuff. So when they went bankrupt, I was looking for a job, and I saw, I just randomly found a truck accessory shop was hiring an accessory installer. So I thought, oh, that could be fun. So I applied, and this truck accessory shop happened to also own a sign shop. And when I went in for my interview, the owner was like, "Yeah, I saw you had some experience painting and doing graphics. We also own a sign shop, and think that may be a better fit for you if you're interested." So I ended up going to this truck accessory interview and coming out with a job at a sign shop. And the rest is kind of history. I just fell in love with it. I kind of learned, like I said before, I learned weeding and masking and hemming and grinding banners and plotter, and then I just kind of worked my way up the ladder. And once we got into wraps, I kind of thought, this is so cool. I'd never even heard of it, and I quickly realized that there had to be a better way to do it.
Right.
The owner had no knowledge of the business. The manager used to be the owner. He sold out. And he just didn't seem like... I don't know. I just kind of realized there has to be a better way to do this. So I got onto, Facebook and tried to find wrap groups, and then I ended up finding the Wrap Institute, and I subscribed to that and realized, okay, yeah, there is better ways to do this, and wow, there's even better films.
Right.
And then I found the Wrap Society, and that's where... Once I found the Wrap Society, that's where I really started, networking and finding out, oh man, there's these trade shows we can be going to, and WrapsCon, and, the MBM shows, and, 3M Open House, and all this stuff, and I just started kind of putting myself out there, and, I'm not afraid to talk to people and ask people questions, and, I went to WrapsCon in Indianapolis. That was my first, real trade show, which was 2 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
I met Dan Nava and some, Kyle Osmitz and some other local people. I've met Kevin Kempf, and then that's where I really started pushing for better quality and focusing on just learning as much as I could on the Wrap Institute. And then the time came when our manager no longer had his job, and they were going to hire another one, and I applied, and they gave it to me. And then I just kept on pushing. I ended up getting Avery Certified. And then I went to Avery and 3M within a month and a half. So
Wow.
I went up to 3M, took the whole thing, the whole 5 days. I passed at 3M first try, and it just kind of dawned on me that I didn't want to do signs and banners, because our commercial shop, the bread and butter was, transit spot graphics, signs and banners. I'm like, man, I want to do this cool stuff that everyone else is doing. But I'm in Wisconsin, and I just figured out a way to make it work. I give a lot of respect to all the people. It's kind of neat when you look at, if you just spend some time in the Wrap Society, you got guys that just kill it in their own aspects, and it's cool how everybody kind of finds their spot in the industry. And I'm young, and I'm not super young, but I'm young in the industry, and I know what I want to do, and I'm just making it happen.
Definitely. Yeah. And definitely taking the certifications and taking the tests and kind of proving yourself to yourself that you can better yourself in this industry is huge, because a lot of people will come in at a young age and just be like, okay, I'm going to buy a printer, laminator, cutter, and I'm going to start wrapping. And, 9 out of 10 times that's not the case. And it's putting a bad name out there. Or you get someone like the shop you were at, that mom and pop shop, that, basically wants to stick to one thing, don't want to change the system, and make their money doing that,
Yep, exactly. So I learned design too, because that was another thing that fascinated me that I knew nothing about. So I actually took this school of racinggraphics.com, I think it was. I found that through somebody that, oh, try this. I was thinking about going to night school and all this and that. And I'm like, I really can't afford it, nor do I have the time. So I found this, I think it's the School of Racing Graphics. They have a mastering Adobe Illustrator. It's like a 38-hour self-paced video where they give you the files for each lesson, and then you kind of do it step by step, and then at the end you can do it yourself. And yeah, it starts with just like basic shapes to making numbers. It's all race car graphic orientated, but at the end of the day, it's once you know Illustrator, you can kind of apply it to other things. So I basically, I used that, and then I spent a lot of time with Dan Nava. He's a good designer, and between, I wouldn't consider myself a great designer by any means, but I can do what I need to do up here. When it comes to, my logo is pretty boring, but I made my own logo, and I designed my shirts, and then, I can, when it comes to stuff like that, I'm fluent enough in Illustrator that I can, and Photoshop, that I can pretty much do any. I've yet to come to a commercial application where they were like, this design just isn't going to work.
Right.
There's guys like Scott Keppel that obviously what he does is insane. But
yeah,
from a commercial aspect, he designed my truck, but from a commercial aspect, I've gotten, I like to play around with design.
When you want to get into that niche, that takes a lot more skill than on actually wrapping, because there's so much prep work and hours put into the design. When I had my conversation with Dan last week, I didn't know too much about what he did as a designer, and he's really informative when it comes down to certifications and really knowledgeable in design. It's just unbelievable. His mentality.
He has a super deep design background.
Yeah. Coming from creating the graphics back then on
campers for Vanilla.
Right, campers, and like, when you have a background like that and you're doing OEM stuff, you can't mess that up at all.
Right.
Yeah. That's great, and you're taking the right steps for sure, being so new. And how old are you, actually?
33.
33, you're
32.
still young. You're still young.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, so I've been doing this for 8 years now. So not a super long time, but, long enough to know where I want to be doing. I talk a lot with, like, I call it like a mentor or whatever you want to call it, but, like, I talk a lot with Kevin Kemp. He's, if I have a big, when it came time for me to, like, start my own business, he was huge. I was constantly bouncing ideas off him, and, he kind of gave me the last confidence boost I needed. Like, dude, you're going to be fine. Do it. Like, I believe in you. So I talked to Scott Keppel a lot. I talked to Kevin a lot, Dan a lot. So I have, like, my little rap support group when it comes time to, because it's such a different industry. I can't just go ask my dad, like, hey, what do you think? He'll be like, oh, that sounds like a terrible idea, So it's like, I found my people in the industry that I lean on, and, it's great. It's like, it's such a great network of people that there's very few people that will be like, I'm not telling you, you know what I mean?
Right. And you'll get those people too, you know what I mean? But you've got out of those three are top guys you want to have on your corner when it comes down to questions about the business or how to do something. They can definitely get you out of a jam if you're in one, you know what I mean? That's awesome.
Yeah, Kevin did that Psycho Huracan, 3 years ago?
Right.
And that was kind of my inspiration to do my truck. I knew I wanted to do printed chrome, and then I knew I couldn't design it, so I spent a bunch of time with Scott, and that's where that whole thing came from. I had to have a printed chrome vehicle. And Scott made it happen. And
take me through the process of something like that. Did he actually produce the graphics and send it over to you to install, or did you have someone locally print it for you?
Yeah, no. So that was when I was back at my sign shop. So that was probably the first thing that I ever came across that was nobody kind of wanted to share the process of printing on chrome.
Yeah.
And I think today it's still kind of a mystery to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I probably wasted a solid 10 yards of chrome trying to get a profile font down.
There's a couple $100.
I wanted to do. Yeah, right.
Oh my God.
I knew that I wanted a tribal chrome design.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't seen that. I didn't see anybody else doing even tribal really, period. So I found a literally like an 8.5 by 11 drawing that I really, really liked. And I sent it to Scott, and I said, hey man, this is all I got, but this is the style I want. And he was like, hell yeah, let's do it. And, you know, a few weeks later, he sent me the first proof, and I was just like, damn, that's exactly how I envisioned this. I think I only had him do one tweak, which was the front bumper, because I don't have a front bumper on my truck. So I had him do the design, then he sent me the files, I printed, laminated, and installed. So I think between Scott and myself, we have probably like 250 hours into my truck.
That's insane.
My truck's white, so it was full. You know, I had the box off. I had wrapped the back of the cab black, so it looked like a deep shadow instead of a white reflection, and wrapped the front of the box. So you know, all these areas you can't even see that are wrapped on my truck is insane.
Yeah, the design's super, super cool. You know, even the detail on the roof transitioning onto the hood, onto the hood. It's like sick design, and you know, and people don't know you're working with how wide's the film? Like 48 inches.
48-inch film, yeah.
Yeah, so you got to make sure those seams are on point. And how difficult was the install after, you know, you've got the material that's, you know, whatever 4 mil, and then you got the ink and then the laminate. You know, you're probably pushing 6 mil or something at least.
Yeah, it was super thick. It was my first time installing chrome, and I did it solo.
Wow.
So the infrared heater light was by far my saving grace. You know, there's a couple flaws in it. I'm not going to sit here and say it's flawless. But for what it is, it's still on today. It still looks great. Really the only issues I had were overheating it, where it'll whiten out real fast.
Right.
All the corners and stuff are staying down good. I was surprised how well it would hold a corner being so thick. You know, I do a lot of PPF, and that stuff does not like to hold edges. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of my theory. It was like, man, this stuff's so thick, how's it going to hold corners? But it really did well. But I don't think I would ever do chrome solo again. I can tell you that much. It was definitely a learning experience, to say the least. Yeah,
for sure. For sure, and especially being so new to the industry, they don't really teach you how to wrap chrome at the end of the day either.
No,
you know? They're just giving you the basics.
That was before I went to training too. But it was, you know, I had spent a lot of time in Wrap Institute, just, you know, learning what I could that way, and then it worked out great. We had the whole truck laid out to where there's only one seam on the roof, 2 seams on the driver's side, and 2 seams on the passenger side, in really inconspicuous areas, like on the A-pillar, and then above the rear door, and then obviously there's a seam in the roof because the roof's just too big.
How was that laying down on the roof with all those little divots?
Yeah, luckily on the Fords they bump up instead of in.
Right.
So it just kind of tented across it and used a Rolly Pro, and then obviously post-heated, but I don't know how well that would work on the roofs that go in. That would be a nightmare.
For sure. Especially being that thick. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Tell me about your the PPF. You got a certification for that as well to be an installer, correct?
Yes, I'm 3M paint protection film certified. I've used a lot of PPF. I tried Llumar. I tried Expel, and then I kind of built a relationship with my 3M distributor. So I've been using 3M Pro Series since version 1, and they're on version 4 now. I used to keep a little journal of all the cars I did for warranty reasons.
Right.
But I stopped doing it after a while. I wish I wouldn't have. But I've probably done over 3,000 cars.
Come on.
Seriously. Because our sign shops, we worked with 5 dealerships. So we were doing sometimes 3 or 4 a day, 5 days a week. And I was the only installer.
Wow.
So they were selling hood fender mirror kits. And then they were also selling the bumper, like a la carte. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you go buy your car and they're like, hey, do you want to buy this package? It includes, you know, ceramic coating and interior coating and that came with the 3M. So between the 5 dealerships, we were literally doing. I mean, there was days when I'd be doing 5 or 6 kits a day.
Wow.
And I did that for 3 years.
Hey, but you got something out of it. You know what I mean? That's a good. I give props to people who can lay that stuff down because that is tedious.
Yeah, I actually got sponsored by 3M. I went down to the International Window Film and Tin-Off Conference in West Palm. I think that must have been in August. I forget when it was. But yeah, they sponsored me to compete in the 3M or the paint protection film contest. So that was super interesting because that's another thing. It's like paint protection film is even smaller network than wraps, I would think, at this point. So that was neat to go down to Florida with a bunch of PPF installers from, different manufacturers and seeing how they do things, and it was really neat. I did okay. I didn't make it to the finals. It was my first live competition, and then my tools got lost. I flew out of Wisconsin to Chicago, and I had a 27-minute layover.
Yeah.
And we got delayed because of birds on the runway, and I ended up with like 8 minutes to switch planes. And so my check bag didn't make it with all my tools. And then because I got sponsored by a 3M, my room wasn't in my name. So when they tried to deliver my luggage, they were like, "Oh, we don't have a Nate Kraus here." So they sent my shit home.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, yeah, my girlfriend texted me. She's like, "Why is this luggage here?" And I said, "Oh, man." So I borrowed a few tools and did the competition with other people's stuff. And I don't remember where I placed, but it was in the top 50%, I believe.
There you
so
go.
I'm definitely going to do that again next year, even if it's on my own dime, and just with my own tools to prove a point, because I really think I could make the finals.
Right.
If I had my own stuff. It was just kind of a mind, like a mind game. It's like, man, here's your yellow turbo squeegee in 2 bottles.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Go get them, Tiger.
Right, exactly.
That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know what I would do without having my essentials. I mean, I used to do a lot of installs, out of the shop, or even prior to me even having a shop. I used to do a lot of my stuff mobile, and man, I'd show up somewhere, and then I don't have alcohol, and then you gotta run to the store.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you can't find your squeegee for some reason. It's like.
Yeah,
it's a sucky situation. You want to do as much as you can in house in an office space where you have all your tools. I used to have this kind of rolling cart with all the tools and just the normal stuff I would need to take apart a car, take off taillights, the 10mm socket, the 8mm socket. Everything would be in this little nook, and we just roll it around the car, do whatever we got to do, and it's so much nicer when you can just be in an area and it's the temperature's ideal and
exactly
all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty intimidating. They're like, "Oh, 45 minutes, go." You're like, okay.
Oh man, wait till you get to a rap one. You got to do a rap contest too. Come SEMA or something.
Yeah, I did 1080 live at SEMA on the McLaren.
Nice.
That was also super fun. So they allowed teams of 4. And I was like, man, 4 people is a lot of people on that. That's not a big car by any means. So I was like, let's just do 2 people. So me and my buddy Garrett, you're like, yeah, let's just do me and you. Let's do this. We got this. And then I quickly realized after seeing other people's designs, I was like, yeah, dude, we don't got this.
Yeah.
So it was just the 2 of us, and we did, in 2 hours we wrapped half of McLaren with knifeless. I mean, it was. I would do the same thing again. It was a heck of an experience. It was fun, It was live, But I would definitely do it with 4 people next time.
For sure. Yeah, and you know what? For you to step up to something like that, and then have the veterans sit back and watch you. It's nice that and then they can critique you, and then you can make things better, and you open up that door of conversation. If you just sit back and just watch, you might not get that opportunity to talk to somebody or that mentor or whatever the case may be, and it's nice that you just balls to the wall with that.
Yeah, I wanted to do the Wrap Olympics at RapsCon in Long Beach, but I did. I was live rapping in the HP booth, so that 1080 Live was really the first opportunity I had to do it. And then once they sent the email out, I was like, I'm doing this. Like, let's do it.
That's awesome. And how often are you going to all these shows? Are you trying to attend as much as you can when they come up, or?
For the last 2 years, I've done RapsCon and SEMA. So I did RapsCon in Indy and SEMA 2 years ago, and then I did RapsCon. I did Indianapolis NBM show because we had an IBOW booth there. I'm a trainer for Dan in the IBOW, so we were repping IBOW at the NBM show in Indy, and then I did SEMA and RapsCon in Long Beach, and then 2018. I believe I'll be doing the same thing, the NBM show in Indy, RapsCon in Long Beach, and then SEMA again. And then I also do, I have a show, a car show season this year, like from hell, because that's where I'm going to really, get vendor booths and just really push my business at car shows. So I got, my car show season actually starts in March. I've got an indoor car show. I have a full bagger Harley to have done by March. I have a 35 Grandmaster Chevy Coupe that me and Scott Keppel are working together on. That's going to be super rad when it's done. I have a BMW to get done by March for an indoor car show in my hometown. And then in the end of February, actually, show season starts in February. Because the end of February, we're doing the Greater Milwaukee Auto Show. My buddy who owns a business on that side of the state, Garrett Parker at Standard Auto Couture, he's also like strictly color changed, does some commercial. He's getting a booth at the Milwaukee Auto Show. We had this last year too, but we're going to live wrap a ZL1 Camaro at the show.
Wow.
Start to finish. So that's an 8-day show, but it should be a lot of fun. It should just get a pretty big buzz, because we did that show last year. We bought M5 wrapped in brushed metal and a 1,000 horsepower CTSV coupe wrapped in Avery satin pearl white, and people were just like, we were parked right. It's crazy how many, it's just at the end of the day, it's just a giant sticker. But our booth was, when we got in there, we were like, oh man, we're right next to DuPont Registry, and there's Range Rover trucks and all this crazy stuff, and here we are with our 2014 M5 and a CTSV, and we got the DuPont Registry people came over like, man, you're getting bigger crowds than us,
right?
Because people just were like, oh man, wrap shop, cool, it seems like these big manufacturer-based auto shows are a good opportunity for a wrap booth, because these people go to the show every year. It's the same stuff every year, but they always go because it's the middle of winter and they got nothing else to do.
Right.
And then they saw something new, and it was literally the whole time we were there was people, and there people asking questions and wanting to see it, and how do you do it, and how many colors are available. And it was great. I mean, I think it paid off very well for him to do that. So I'm going to help him again this year. And it's one of those things with like, my dad was like, why do you help him? He's your competition. I said, well, there's plenty of work to go around, and I help him when he needs help. He helps me when I need help. And it's just kind of what this industry is about. We help people out. Maybe not everybody would help somebody that's technically their competitor, but I'm busy and he's busy, so why not? It's kind of like the rap brotherhood,
Right.
That's right. It's fun.
How far are you guys away from each other, business-wise?
Like 2.5 hours.
Oh, that's still good enough. I mean,
Yeah.
That's not that far, but you've got your little side of the pie. He's got his little side. And at the end of the day, when he needs a set of hands and he's down a guy or he's just too busy, he knows he can call you and you can, drive down and get shit done, Yeah,
it works out great because we're both solo owners and solo everything. So I did that S2000 in KPMF.
Yep.
And I just really needed a second set of hands on that bumpers. And, he came down for the day. We knocked out the bumpers. And then I know he's got a brand new M2 in the shop that I'm going over there tomorrow to help him with. Just, that's kind of what we do. It's like, it's so nice when you're doing KPMF to have a second set of hands on bumpers.
Yeah.
especially an experienced set of hands. So a lot of times that's what we do. It's like, hey man, can you come over and help me with some bumpers? Let's do it. So
that's cool.
I'm going there tomorrow to help him. And yeah, he covers that side of the state. I cover my side of the state. He gets some stuff from Chicago, Milwaukee. I'm pulling from Minneapolis. So I don't know. We're a good team. And that's who helped me. That's who I had with me on the 1080 Live booth. That's Garrett. So he's good people.
How many wraps are you wrapping during the week?
I do one a week.
Okay.
And then today I had, so I did that red, that matte metallic cherry pickup truck.
Yeah.
About 2 weeks ago, and then last week I did the STI in Satin Ghost Flip, and then this week I'm taking 2 weeks on this Infinity just because I'm off Friday, I'm off Monday. There's no point in rushing. So I try to do one a week, and then I'll sneak in some other stuff, like paint protection film, or maybe a tint job. Like today I had some guy who was coming for door lettering on. I did a full wrap on his flatbed tow truck, and then he came in for door lettering today.
Nice.
I try to do like one big project, and then whatever else filters in. While I was waiting to talk, I have a guy. I haven't posted any pictures yet. I put them on the Wrap Society, but I haven't put them out on public forums yet. But I have a guy that has a Ford GTX1, which is the Ford GT, the supercar.
Yeah.
And then the GTX1 was kind of like an offshoot customizing thing where they made 38 of them. So I'm doing some stuff on that. He got rid of the center console, and all the dash pieces were this like super pretty real blue carbon fiber. He's like, man, I hate it. So I templated all the HVAC controls and like the passenger airbag light on off controls, and he had it painted the satin silver to match the shift boot, and then I printed the HVAC controls and all the labels for the instrument clusters on that new 1080 or 180 MC clear 3M print film and laminated it in matte, and then we wrapped the entire center console and the entire everything, so there's no edge on the sticker, so it looks factory. And now we're doing the side skirts in paint protection film, and then I'm using Scott Keppel's carbon fiber pattern to do the front lip and then the bottom of the side skirts, and then he had the wheels painted. I think there's only 12 sets of those wheels in existence, but he had them painted. And the center caps, so I had to reduplicate this Ford GTX logo off the center caps. The whole thing is like 1.5 inches tall by 2.25 inches long.
Oh my god.
So I just was doing that this evening while I was waiting for you. I gotta just sticker up those center caps and then bang out the side skirts, then that car's done. So I get a lot of random stuff, like that's a really random project.
Yeah, but it's a good filler at the end of the day too. When
exactly.
You're down a couple hours.
It's tedious, but at the end it's rewarding because it's a super rare car, and he's probably gonna. I guess he might take it to Barrett Jackson. So, it is what it is. It's fun. It's cool. It's different.
Who are you having do your digital prints now?
So my buddy Chad at Fastlane Wraps, that's where we did the Deep Space Escalade. I have him do my printing right now.
Probably gives you some good discounts for reselling.
Yeah, we have a fair price, fair for him, fair for me. He's not losing money. I'm not overpaying because I reached out to a few other places, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll wholesale to you at $8.50 a square foot." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm trying to make money, dog."
Yeah, forget that.
Yeah, so yeah, we have a good relationship.
Have you looked into the We Print Wraps over in Arizona?
I haven't, only because it's like next day shipping from Chad is like $60. So if I'm in a bind and I need something tomorrow, he can usually produce it and get it to me for super inexpensive.
For sure.
So it's nice to have that as an option to get stuff here now.
I know I saw something on Instagram. I wanted to go back on the that cherry, the metallic cherry install. Did you take off the bed and everything to do behind?
Yep, yeah, the bed came off that truck. So I wrapped, I probably wrapped like 18 inches to 2 feet in on the sides and then the top down. So the whole back isn't wrapped, but as far as you can see when the box is on. And then I wrapped the front of the box also, so that when it's all put together, you look in there, you can't see any of the original color.
Yeah, super
we
clean.
also did ceramic coating on that, aftermarket fog lights, and we put a 3.5-inch lift kit in that truck. So that was a project.
That thing came out really, really nice.
Thank you.
What color was it before? Was it just like a standard red?
Yep, it was just a standard gloss red.
Yeah, that's a perfect setup. When you have a car come in and it's, not to be typical, but it's a black car and they're like, "Oh yeah, I just want it matte." With the gloss accents on it, whether you wrap the door handles or leave the moldings, it still looks super nice. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, this truck had it had chrome bumpers, so I wrapped the bumpers, and it had that stick-on chrome like 8-inch tall side moldings on the door bottoms.
Yep.
And like the fenders and the box side. So we actually pulled that off, and that was a chore. I mean, I guess I didn't realize, she's like, "What should we do?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I think we should take them off. I think it's going to look weird having a matte metallic wrap with chrome, and if we wrap them, it's going to look like we just cheaped out and didn't take them off."
Right.
I think I had like 12 hours in removal on those.
I believe it. Did you have to use the wheel to take off all the glue off the door?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and it took those things. I think they were 8 inches tall, and they were solid adhesive.
Yep.
Front to back, top to bottom. So it was a nightmare getting them off. Then eating up the rubber wheel to get it all off.
How many wheels did you have to go through on that install?
1.5.
1.5. Oh, surprising.
Yeah, it was. What I did was I soaked them in adhesive remover first and scraped off, the foam part of it.
Yeah.
And then I came back with the wheel just to get the actual adhesive off. But it was a process, and then when we took it off, the girl, she had paid to put them on, but then I was like, man, we put all this work into this truck to make it so nice, and and I'm looking, when you're getting that nitty gritty with the truck, you're seeing all these imperfections. It's like a couple door dings, and I said we should really get these taken care of. She's like, well, I didn't even know I had any. And I said, yeah, I didn't really see them either until I looked at your truck for literally 12 hours.
Right.
So I had a PDR guy come in, get the dents out. So that truck's like flawless. That truck turned out really, really well.
It looks really nice in the photographs, and taking those moldings out just makes the doors look so much longer and better than having that separation.
Yeah, that truck was nice because it's like going red to red isn't gonna be like this crazy transformation. When we were done, it looked like a different truck, doing the bumpers and getting rid of the moldings. And she was just blown away. Then I took the inserts off the wheels and wrapped the wheel inserts to match the truck, just kind of give it that finishing tie together touch. And when she picked it up, she was like, "Oh my god!" I said, she saw pictures along the way, but when you see something in person for the first time, she just couldn't be happier. That's the best part about what we do is we give somebody something existing that's new and they love it, and it's like it's fun.
Well, it's instant gratification on it. You can wrap one door and you're like, damn, that looks so nice. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's so easy to just wrap one door and be like, this is gonna look sick.
Yeah.
Other than like paint. I mean, paint, like you said before, it's like you sat next to DuPont and going back to SEMA, it's the game at SEMA now totally different than it was a few years back. You see way more wraps in these boots, high-end boots, and these crazy people like West Coast Customs, they're just incorporating vehicle wrap. They have their own section for vehicle wraps now, and they're doing more of that than painting.
Yeah.
It's incredible the way the market's going, and the instant gratification and the turnaround time to wrap a car as opposed to doing all the body work and then spraying paint on it and being permanent. and not be able to change it. It's the wrap industry is just so big.
Yeah, I actually do some work for a guy in Minneapolis area who is a super gifted airbrush artist, and he races power boats, and he used to spend all his time airbrushing these boats and doing custom paint. He's like, man, there's just no point.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrapped 2 boats for him last year. I've got one to do here before February for a boat show. And he said the same thing. He's like, I've had featured articles and, this and that paint magazine. And I got, I used to go to SEMA for 20 years in a row and, do live airbrushing in these booths. And he's like, man, one day they just kind of stopped calling and, I kind of figured out why, and it's the wrap thing. And originally I was like, man, screw these wraps, and it doesn't take any talent. He's like, now seeing you do it, and he's like, it does take a different kind of talent, and it's great because if I wreck my boat, you can just reprint the side, and I don't have to spend 40 hours blending it in.
Right.
So it's kind of funny to see it come full circle, where some of the paint guys are really appreciating what we do too. I'm sure there's a lot that still are super anti-wrap, but there's some of these guys that are really seeing the light. It's like, man, that's the thing to do. I've got another guy that restores classic cars, and he restored this, like a 59 Buick, super beautiful, big, long boat car, super gorgeous paint. But the customer went to pick it up. He's like, oh, I thought we were going to do a white roof. He's like, oh, I don't remember that conversation. So we're just going to wrap the roof satin white to match the interior, and that way that amazing paint job he did, he doesn't have to scuff it up and reshoot it.
Right.
He's like, this is great, He's like, I never would have thought, but his kid, he has a younger kid that works for him that follows my work, and he's like, well, let's just have Nate wrap it. He's like, wrap it, no way. So he started showing him my work, and he's like, maybe. So I went over there, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So I'm going to wrap the roof of that car, and that car is going to, some pretty big shows.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a place for it everywhere, it seems like.
Absolutely. Take me through the process of like a boat wrap, because you might think it's straight or whatnot, and it's really a tough install on some boats.
Yeah, boats are tough. I've done a lot of boats. I've done some race boats, I've done some bass boats, but what a lot of people don't even consider is, just like you said, they think it's straight. We wrapped a 30-foot Baja, and from the rub rail to that first wake ridgeline where you kind of stop the wrap at,
right, was
only like 33 inches.
Mm-hmm.
But we had to print almost 60 inches of film because of how hard that once you hit the curve of the bow, it just wants to go the opposite direction, and you run out of film.
Right.
So, that's another thing that people don't, they come to you with these crazy designs. It's like, man, we really can't even do that because it's going to be impossible to get these lines to go where you want them to go. But then on the race boat side, that has its own challenge because I do, like a full capsule race boat where you have like sponson decks, kind of like a hydroplane where it's got like the 2 pickle forks.
Right.
And then it comes together and it goes up and over just to to figure out where you want to put a seam. And it's a challenge to install, but it's a lot of fun. And that's one of those things that's, I sponsor a race team up in Minnesota, Lucky 13 Racing. He races nationally. I did his trailer, and we're going to redo his boat, I believe, before the season. But that's one of those things that's like, it's just fun, and to see your work on something that's, super different. There's not a whole lot of people racing power boats. But, he's always posting pictures. He goes to national races, and it's just fun to see that kind of stuff out there. But the process is completely different. You're tons of edge sealer, and, it's not the perfect corner game strong Instagram stuff, but right. It is, finding a solid place to stop, and then, edge primer or edge promoter, edge seal. What I do is I use like the 8518 edge seal tape, and then I go over it. I tape off. I take like 2.5 inch painter's tape, and I run a line on the top edge of the edge seal tape, and then the bottom edge, and then I liquid edge seal it. And then right before it like gets hardened, I pull the tape so I have a nice. So that way, in order to break the seal of the wrap, it's got to go through the edge seal, the liquid edge sealer, and then both edges of the tape, and then the wrap. So it's pretty bulletproof.
Wow. And now are you relief cutting? You know how the boat comes down, you've got that small dip, that little recessed area. Or some might have one, or some boats have like two little dips just before the water line.
Yeah, I try not to. What I try to do is like roll like I'll try to get like the whole side down,
right,
except for the bottom, and then pick it up and like roll it in, and then pick it up and then roll it into the next one if there's two.
Yeah, just relax it in there, and
yeah,
that will stay. Yeah, I helped wrap a boat a while back with a friend of mine, and we actually had to put a small relief cut, and then we just used the sealer and just sealed that edge so it wouldn't pop, because we were afraid that thing was just gonna bubble up or not stay in the water. You know what I mean? That's the hardest part. You just don't know what the life expectancy of that would be.
I know, it's tough. It's always tough when you just like the first time you see something like that go into water. It's just like,
yeah, is it going to blow off?
Right.
Especially doing a race boat. I mean, how fast are those boats going?
120, 125.
At least they're literally just hydroplaning on top of that thing.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, with the air constantly hitting that edge, or one little corner not sitting right, it's just blowing in the air. You definitely don't want that happening.
No, it's different. It's neat. It's fun. But yeah, it's just fun. All the different applications that you can even just boats. I've done some like side by sides are really popular up here. I've done snowmobiles. I did a tractor. It's just so neat, like how many applications there are to wrap. I've wrapped a Zamboni at the ice arena. Like that was pretty neat.
That's cool.
Wrapping it at the ice arena. So we used the Envision 3M print film, because that's that non-PVC film. Right.
I think it's the 480 or something like that.
Yep. Yeah, the 480. Yep, exactly. So that was the issue we had with the Zambonis, was they weren't allowed to leave the rink because they're city owned. So the city was like, absolutely not. They can't leave. So we're like, how are we going to wrap these when it's like 35 degrees in here? So we actually wrapped the Zambonis at rink temperature with that 480, no problem.
And honestly, that's what kind of makes you better too. When you get those weird oddball stuff, like who would think, like some people just shy away and just be like, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? They won't look into or research, because there is films for specific temperatures, especially, with your climate change and my climate change. The 480 is great, but, looking back in it, looking at the price range on it as well,
right.
It's...
Yeah, that's one thing that's, I know on the Wrap Society that, you can't talk pricing, but there's some other Facebook forums where it's like less, loosely regulated, and it's so funny when people are like, how do you price this? It's like, man, when people ask pricing questions, it's like so hard. What's your application? What's the environment that it's going to be in? Where are you located? Are you in Texas or are you in Canada? It's like, it's so hard when people just want help with pricing.
Pricing's a non-talked about thing, which I feel like it's kind of stupid, to be honest with you, that nobody talks about pricing, because honestly, I've come through scenarios where I'll price out a job, and then you got, Joe's sign shop down the street's doing it for like $3 less a square foot, and it's like, whoa, you're buying it from the same place I'm buying it. How come you're so much cheaper? And that's kind of the divide, I think, where, You look at a wrap shop, and I'll just talk about like commercial. I'll just talk about like a color change shop where these wrap shops in Florida, Texas are extremely busy all day, every day, just doing color changes, And then you'll come across somebody that did one, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I spent like $2,800 to wrap a car." It's like, what? $2,800? How did, like, half of that's material? There's no way they wrap that whole car for the other half for install.
Right.
There's no profit in that. But then you look back, you're like, damn, they're wrapping like 2 cars a day. Okay, maybe they can cut down their price, but are you doing it any justice, cutting down your price for guys like yourself, where you're trying to get, maybe like $15 a square or something like that,
Right.
material and install,
Right. It's definitely an untalked about thing. And I've had this conversation with some people, just, on a private, like on not on a forum level, but just, at trade shows and stuff. And I always get, I haven't spent time in other people's markets, but I always revert back to, like, well, it's so saturated down here, and we have, how else are we going to get business? It's like, man, I am just like a firm believer in, like, stand by your quality and let your quality sell itself. And, I'm not surrounded by color change shops, and I don't have, like, pop-up shops, but I don't know how popular, everywhere else is, but we have all these kids that are like, I'll dip your car for $900. Or, you get people on these forums like, oh man, you paid how much for a raffle? I would dip your car for $750.
Right.
It's like, man, here's the thing, quality comes at a price. And I think what I price for the quality somebody gets from my wrap versus some of the other quality versus, I think I have a pretty fair scale of, like, quality for price, where that price is fair for me and fair for the customer.
Right.
And that's kind of how I keep busy. Is, don't get me wrong, I'm not cheap, but I'm not doing, I see it all the time, $1,200 wraps, and then they're getting shit quality. Or then you go, it's like, well, man, you just don't know the market. It's so saturated. Well, I bet you if you went to Walmart in your big city of saturation, I bet an Xbox costs the same.
Right.
I bet a computer costs the same. I bet a Corvette costs the same down there as it does up here. I think it would be great if, we could get together and say this is the price. But yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen. But, let those guys keep fighting to the bottom, I guess. But what do you do?
There's not much you can do with stuff like that. I mean, I ran in my area, just these pop-up shops like crazy would come up, and they would last, 6 months, a year, maybe 2 years, and, best to them, because at the end of the day, I'm still going to be around, and they'll be out of business because they couldn't pay their light bill because they're doing stuff for free. You know what I mean? Right.
Well, that's another big thing too. Is I'll get a request for a quote or something, and I'll say, let's say it's a $4,000 job, and they're like, oh man, well, so and so told me they do it for $1,800, and I was like, yeah. I was like, well, here's my website, here's my Instagram, here's my Facebook, here's my certifications. I live wrap at SEMA. I have insurance. I have a facility. I'll pick up and deliver your car. I said, ask that guy for some references. Ask them where they're going to do the work. Are they working out of their are they working out of their 12 by 20 apartment garage with no lighting and a torpedo heater? I mean, some of these guys just need to, like, get real on their expectations, because I think image is so important, because to get the right clients, somebody's gonna I think that's the big thing that phases out those small little shops, because they don't have insurance, they don't have a furnace, they're using space heaters, they don't have any sort of I know there's a lot of great installers without training, but a lot of the younger installers that just decide I watched 4 hours of Christian Credible raps on YouTube, and I'm a rapper. It's like, get real, dude. You're a YouTube rapper. That's like kind of the joke. Like, you know, we made up this little YouTube certified rap emblem.
That's
so
awesome.
Sometimes if I see some post, you know, I'll be like, here's your certification, bro. You're YouTube certified. It's like, I take it lightly because I know there's some great non-certified installers, and that's not directed at anybody that's not certified. It's directed at these kids in mom's garage that, you know, they bought Vivid Vinyl and they watched some YouTube videos and they're going to take over the show scene. And then you go to the shows and it's like, damn, dude. You let that, it's like, I saw some cars at I spent a lot of time at car shows and it's like, was it worth $1,200? Like, seriously? Because your car looks like a pile of hot garbage.
Right. And it's not even, and you're not, and those are the things you can physically see. I imagine ripping off the wrap and seeing cut marks on your car or whatever the case may be. It's not fun, you know, dealing with those types of nightmares.
Well, yeah, it's crazy. I actually dealt with that exact scenario when I was, one of the last things I dealt with at my last shop was a Serve Pro wraps. You know, a Serve Pro franchise, it was literally 25 minutes from our shop. They buy all their wraps, so that's a national franchise. They have a contract with a major print house in the States here. So, you know, when that franchise wants to do wraps, they have to buy them from said print shop. And then they're supposed to find their own installers. So they send us a quote, and I gave them, you know, an install quote, and then we never heard back. So then I was actually on Facebook one day, and I saw Serve Pro La Crosse County, and I was like, seriously? So I messaged dude, and I was like, is there a La Crosse County where you live? He's like, no, why? And I said, are you in Wisconsin? He's like, yeah. And I said, no shit. Like, you are 25 minutes from me, and you live nowhere near here. Like, I'm not going to use names, but this guy was from, like, 3 states away.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like, alright, dude, like, yeah, I bid on that job. Like, you must have bid it pretty cheap to come from 3 states away to, like, to, you know what I mean? I'm just, like, my mind's going, like,
he was hungry.
What I bid it at for you to come that far away to do it, like, okay. So, you know, whatever. I was like, let's go grab a beer, and it didn't work out, because they came, they busted their wraps, and they left. You know, good for them. So, about 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from Serve Pro. They're like, yeah, I know that we didn't use you guys, but we're having some issues, and I'm just wondering if you would come and just look at these wraps and tell us what we should do. And I was like, yeah, you know, I'm pro-industry. Like, I don't want you to have a bad taste in your mouth that next time you just will say, screw wraps.
Right.
Because that's the other battle. It's like, when someone has a bad experience, it's like, do you help them even though they didn't use you, or do you help them because you want them to do wraps again? You know what I mean? Like, so I drove up there and I looked at them and I was like, dude, what happened? I mean, the front bumper of one of these cars was done in 7 pieces with, like, anywhere from, like triangle overlaps from, like, a 1/4 inch to 4 inches, and, like, cut marks you could see cut in the paint behind the handles, and, like, the A-pillars were patched, and, you know, you could see where they were cutting around the window trim and their knife jumped and, like, cut the paint. They just put edge seal tape over it. I was like, yeah, really the only option here is to pull all this off and redo it. So I ended up getting in touch with their print supplier and sent them pictures, and, you know, I said, hey, I'm a 3M certified installer, 3M preferred. This is my professional opinion. This is completely unacceptable. This is not, by any stretch of the means, what the standard is. You know, I think you're looking at a strip and redo. There's not, like, one salvage. I think we ended up salvaging, like, 2 fenders on one of the cars out of the 4 full wraps.
Oh my god.
So the print company ended up having to bite the bullet and reprint all the wraps for free and then pay us to install anyways. But then when we took their truck apart, they didn't really care about they had an HHR, a Focus, and a Fusion, and a brand new Silverado. They didn't really care about the cheaper cars because they're like, yeah, they're used cars. This guy's like, man, I just bought this truck. It's still under warranty. So that truck had to go get repainted.
No.
Yes. There was cut marks in every single panel of the truck. Sail panel, door, fender, roof, hood, tailgate, box side. All had to get sanded and repainted.
And nothing ever came up with the original installer, huh? No one ever went back for him?
Nope. He's went out of business. Seriously.
I wonder why.
Exactly.
Unreal.
Yeah.
And that is the thing. Like, you almost wonder, like, how did that conversation go down? You know, did he just like throw the number and they were like, yeah, you're the guy? Or was it like, did he really con them into, you know, more than what they thought they were going to get out of the deal? You know?
Yeah, you never know. I often wonder that myself. Like I'm not like Mr., you know, gotta have the best of the best all the time, but if I always just think of it like, even if I was going to get my oil, like when I get my oil changed, like, I don't go somewhere that offers $9.99 oil changes, but I don't go to the place that does it for $60 either, but I usually go to the place that does it for $30. It's like, to me, it's like, why, I don't think that, how could you do a good job for $9.99? Like, I don't know how people that quote for wraps, like, I just don't get it when people are like, oh yeah, I'll take the cheapest one. It's like, how does that make sense?
And especially when you're not even doing the printing, it's like literally you're showing up with your box of tools and you're just putting the crap on. You know what I mean? Like, how can you, like, I understand more or less the market for just installer rates. I kind of have an idea from X to Y. But when you're under X, like, wouldn't that throw like a big like red flag? Like, hey, there's something wrong here, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I think the same thing, I think it follows true. You know, I spend a lot of time at car shows, and I saw this, I was at a really big show, and like, a big national show, and I saw a particular car that was wrapped and tagged by the owner, you know, the wrap shop.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking, these are probably $80,000 cars with a Liberty Walk kit, you know, this guy probably has like 150 grand into his car. That's another thing that boggles my mind is these guys that have, you know, $15,000 three-piece forged wheels and, you know, $10,000 body kits, and, you know, when it comes, that's like tuning too, you know, they got 1,300 horsepower cars and they go all the way to the East Coast to get them tuned because they want to go to the best tuner. Right. And they're like, oh, $900 wrap? Like, let's do it.
All day long.
Yeah. It's like, man. So, yeah, this particular car I saw at a show, and I left a business card on it because, you know, it's like, man, your car just deserves better. I wrote that on the business card. Like, this car deserves better. That's my business card. And then the owner of that shop was like, called me, like, who do you think you are, leaving a business card? And I was like, man, dude, I didn't call you out on social media. I didn't post pictures. I take that back. I did post pictures, but I left the part out who it was. And then somebody, like, attacked me, like, well, you don't know the situation, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, man, I don't accept a job if it's going to put me in a position that might lessen my quality. Like, if I don't have a week, if you came to me, like, I'll give you $10,000 to wrap my car in a day and a half, find somebody else, because that ain't happening.
Right. I
can't do A-plus quality in that time frame. I don't take that job. So, like, I don't buy that excuse of, like, you don't know the situation. I see that all the time. But the guy's like, oh, how dare you give him a business card? And I was like, man, dude, this guy must go to a lot of shows because he's got a dope car. And it's just unfortunate that that's the quality you gave him. Because people see that.
Right. It's not like somebody the motor else, where you don't see certain things in the motor and it is what it is. It could be a car with no engine in it. It's like you're only looking at the exterior of it.
Yeah. And then somebody that sees that, like, well, shit, I'm not wrapping my car because dude has this caliber of car and must have got a caliber wrap, and that's what it looks like. You know, it's like that infuriates me in the color change game.
Yeah,
these shows when it's like, dude's got like the dopest car here with $900 wrap, and people are probably turned off to wraps because
Right.
they're like, look at this shit.
It's unbelievable, and I see that, and it's like, if you're gonna do that caliber of shit, like, do it on like a commercial wrap. You know what I mean? Where most of those people just don't care.
Right, they're just jacked because their name's on the side. Like,
That's
woo-hoo!
it. That's it. That gets them out of fucking getting a ticket for parking in the commercial spot, and it gets them some type of advertising when they're driving. It's a. I mean, I don't want to say do shit jobs for commercial, but those type of people
Right.
aren't as picky, okay? But dude,
Right.
I'll see a commercial wrap, right? And it'll be paneled, and literally they must have tugged on the panels too much. And it's like they didn't take the extra initiative to just line the goddamn letter up. It's like an eighth of an inch or a quarter of an inch lower on their
Yes.
overlap. It's like, damn, why couldn't you just adjust it and heat it? It's a quick 1-2 and you're done. Why'd you leave it? Oh, you don't see that walk when you're 4 feet back. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
My favorite thing that I've ever seen on commercial wraps is when a panel, like you said, probably got overstretched, and it's like half of a letter.
Yeah.
So they like cut their overlap to
Oh.
line up to the other letter on the overlap, and they have like that triangle missing. But
Well,
then
what they're trying to
it
do,
like looks, it lines up.
yeah, what they're trying to do is cut the bottom panel out. So like your bottom panel that's supposed to be overlapped
Right.
now becomes the rest of the other letter that you just cut out. It's like,
Exactly.
what? Come on.
Yeah, that's my
Stop.
favorite thing that I've seen.
Oh, man, nightmare stories, dude. Nightmare stories. But shame on him. Well, shame on him for calling you out on it because you were trying to be a gentleman and educate the guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And at the end of the day, I would have gave him the pleasure of explaining himself. I would have wanted to know, what is your excuse that I didn't know of, and you gave him that quality of a wrap? Was it was it money? Was it price? Was it,
Yeah,
you know,
it wasn't. He did not go there with me. He was just like, dude, that's bullshit. You know, I can't believe you would do that, and blah blah blah, and then blocked me from Facebook like a child. I'm like, sick.
awesome, dude. Appreciate it. Can't wait to see
Yeah.
more of your work out, you know?
Yeah, and I make mistakes too. I'm not gonna sit here and like pound my chest. Like, I'm pretty humble, but I've spent so much time and energy and money learning, and that satin ghost flip pearl, man, that, I did the roof 3 times, and the first time probably would have passed to the customer, but I wasn't happy with it. I don't know what it is with that material, but it, sometimes with 3M, when you, like glass a panel out that has some pretty heavy body lines,
Mm-hmm.
you know how sometimes the adhesive will roll over and you get that little, like, I don't even, like, dimpling on a body line?
Yep.
Well, that satin ghost flip pearl seems to do it a lot easier. So I redid the roof 3 times because I kept getting that stupid, the front corners that meet the A-pillar by the windshield kind of dive down really hard, so I was glassing the roof and pulling, but I was, pulling like Avery and just making it glass, and then when I get it squeegeed down, it was like dimpled because the adhesive was rolling over itself. So what I ended up doing was like squeegeeing to like, kind of like a 12-inch radius, and picking it up, and then doing my, corner pull, and like lifting up and like pulling and then setting it down and then squeegeeing quick. But yeah, it's like, I don't think I'm God's gift to wrapping by any means, but I'm like 100% quality focused, driven. If I don't like it, I'm redoing it. I don't care what the cost. But then you see people that just are like okay with what they do. It's like, dog, what?
Yeah, and to do that roof 3 times, I mean, what did that cost you? At least $100. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it was probably about like $110.
Yeah. By that time, you're not making any money. You're just happy that a good quality job is out there, and hoping that he tells your friends or his friends, and then make your money back.
That's exactly what it is, because I want that person to go to a car show and somebody to see that and say, where did that get done?
Right.
Well, Nate did at IVS. Dope. I'm going there. I'm all word of mouth. I don't pay for advertising. It's strictly Facebook, Instagram, word of mouth referrals. So my quality is my number one source of advertising, because
Right.
people are going to see it.
Yeah, it speaks for itself at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Man, good for you. I give you a lot of props for going on your own and starting your own business and looking at the bigger picture of the wrap industry, other than staying in, kind of in that predicament you were in and just vehicle lettering and the same old stuff every day,
Yeah.
And,
I had to make a change.
yeah, and big props to you getting all those certifications. I mean, I'm sure you've gotten them as time's gone on, with you being in the industry for 8 years.
Yeah.
Big props to you to take that
Thank
initiative and go for it, you know what I mean? I wish you well, for sure.
Thank you.
But we'll have to get you back on here for another session on the podcast and, talk about some new stuff you got going on.
Yeah, that'd be dope. I got some pretty good stuff coming. I've got some pretty big stuff coming in 2018 that I really can't talk about. We're trying to do a SEMA build that we would enter in Replica King and then actually have the vehicle there, which I think that would be super cool. We kind of developed our own little new technique that no one's done. But then, I got a few different things in the works for 2018 that, once that time comes, I'd love to come back on and talk about it.
Definitely. Everyone's got secrets. Everyone I've talked to. I
think
my last 3 people, the last 3 guests I've had, they're all like, 2018 is going to be great, but I can't talk about it. It's just throw the hook out and just watch us all just take the bait right now. Just take the bait.
Yeah, I've got some stuff in my playbook. I can tell you that I got a car coming in here that's going to be really good for business. This particular guy, he posts a picture of his car on Instagram, and the last thing he posted 13 hours later had 45,000 likes.
Come on.
It's a 1,000 wheel horsepower Supra that's supposed to be coming through. I got some cool cars coming. That 35 Chevy I'm doing with Scott Keppel is going to be pretty epic. But other than that, there's just some other pretty cool things in the works that once that time comes, I'd love to come back on and talk about it.
Definitely. Make sure to tag us on a couple of your new projects and stuff so we can repost them.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely do that. That's awesome.
Nate, let everyone know where they can find you on Instagram, Facebook, all your social media accounts and website.
Yeah, so website's ivswraps.com. You can find me, Facebook is IVS Wrap, just no S, just Wrap. And then my Instagram is IVS Wraps, I believe. I'm new to Instagram. So that was a challenge, this whole Instagram thing. So I actually have a girl who runs one of the big car clubs in Wisconsin. She's running my Instagram for me.
Nice.
So it's IVS_Wraps is my Instagram.
Perfect. Make sure to go and follow Nate on that. Yeah. I mean, you're killing it. You got 210 followers now. You've only posted 41 times, but it's all good. Yeah, we all get there. I'm still fresh too, brother.
Yeah, I started Instagram on maybe a month ago, tops.
Yeah, it's a great outlet, and it kind of goes hand in hand with the wraps, where everything's more visual, and you could do the video thing. I forgot to talk about, you posted something about a vlog. Are you doing a vlog?
Yeah. So I did one vlog, and then I was gonna do this vlog thing. Me and Scott Keppel were talking about it at SEMA. And he was like, dude, you gotta do a vlog, it's the greatest thing. So I go and buy a new GoPro and I bought a microphone and all this, that, and the other thing. And it was one of those things. I made the first one. I spent all this time on it. I got editing software. and I wanted to do one a week, but I just realized how much time is involved in doing it.
Yeah, man.
And it just wasn't something I could commit. I didn't want to just do one and then stop. So I just realized, like, dude, this is way more work than I really ever thought it would be. So I'm going to just post some video content here and there. Maybe like time lapses, whatever. And then I have a kid who is just kind of like super interested in what I do. One thing that's kind of cool that's happening is I have a friend who's going to school for videography. His winter break project is to do a mini documentary. So he's going to do his documentary on me, and we're going to feature this Q45 Infinity in it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I have this other kid who just loves what I do, loves the rap thing, and he's big into car shows, and he does videography for his high school. He graduates high school early, and he's moving to where I live, and he messaged me on Facebook the other day and said, "Hey, man, I thought you were going to do a vlog." And the same thing, like, yeah, dude, I did one. I didn't post it because I knew there's not any way in hell I can do one a week and maintain my sanity. He's like, dude, I do videography. I took videography classes in school. I have my own stuff. So I'm moving up by you in February or March. He's like, I'll do one for you every week for free just to hang out at the shop. So I'll be doing vlogs once he is up here in February or March.
That's awesome.
He's doing it all for me, and all he wants is a hoodie. So hell yeah, I'll give him 5 hoodies, dude. Like,
right?
It's
right.
I just it's so much work, and being solo, I knew I couldn't follow it up, so I just never posted it.
Definitely. I definitely hear you on that one. A 1 hour podcast for me, it's great talking for an hour, but then I got like 4 hours of editing and cleaning up, and it's definitely a challenge, but I love it. I love talking to people all over. I've got a great interview coming up soon, from a company in the UK, which now just went from being, national now to being international, and trying to get a different perspective of how the rap industry is in a completely different country, which is awesome. Awesome. I can't wait. That's going to be coming up in January. I can't wait for that interview. We're just confirming dates and times, due to the time change. It's going to be difficult, but we're going to make it happen. But,
cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's definitely overwhelming, but if you can get that one a week or even a couple a month and do small snaps on Instagram, little videos, and boost up that Instagram, it's great. I love social media, the power of social media. I wouldn't be able to reach out to half of the people that I've talked to about the industry and on the podcast if it wasn't for social media. It's just great. It's all around.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't be, like, seriously, without Instagram or without Facebook, I would still be, dude, having and grabbing banners at a sign shop, dude. Like, without, it sounds weird, but like without the rap society and meeting all these guys and Facebook networking and finding out about trade shows, like, what made it all happen was finding out it was much bigger than I ever thought.
Right. Crazy. Nate, awesome. I've had such a great pleasure talking to you, brother. Dude, I wish you all the best in your new endeavors with having your new shop and taking that leap out of where you were at to now being a business owner in the rap industry, man. I wish you well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I want to thank my guest, Nate, for taking the time out today to talk to us on the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and like our podcast on Apple Podcast, Google Play, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. Till next time, everyone, that's a wrap.